Welcome to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast, where we equipped you to more effectively lead your seat at any employer, business, or industry in which you choose to play. Each week, we help you sharpen your leadership acumen by cracking open the playbooks of dynamic leaders who are doing big things in their professional endeavors. And now your host, leadership tactics and organizational development expert, Karen Farrell Rhodes.
Hey there, superstars. Welcome to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast, and thanks for joining another episode designed to help you better lead at the top of your game. You know, the whole quiet quitting phenomenon took over the workplace culture these past couple of years. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the term, quiet quitting is when employees put in the minimum amount of time and effort to keep their jobs, but don't go the extra mile for their employer. They basically check out mentally and frequently demonstrate behaviors such as not speaking up in meetings or not volunteering for tasks or refusing to work overtime, things like that. However, quiet quitting is usually a symptom of deeper problems, such as a toxic workplace culture, mental or physical struggles that the individual is going through, industry trends, unstable economies, or even geopolitical dynamics. However, there are interventions, mindsets, tools, and tactics that can be used to minimize the frequency of quiet quitting in a way that ends up being a win-win for both the employee and the employer. And on today's show, we feature a leader who's an expert in coaching professionals back onto the right track that's best for them. Marla Albertie is the owner and founder of the TruthSpeaksGroup, a multimedia company that creates strategies and solutions for work-life integration and harmony. She has over 20 years of experience in coaching and training, and she's actually pursuing her PhD in IO psychology. She's going to share with us her perspective on why employees sometimes get stuck and what they can do to change the narrative about their professional journey and career before they use the stick of quiet quitting. And what I love about her is her kind frankness, which is frequently the kick in the butt that we need when we're stuck in our sour feelings. You're really, really going to enjoy this conversation. And as always, be sure to stay tuned for just 2 minutes after the episode to listen to my closing segment called Karen's Take, where I share a tip on how to use insights from today's episode to further sharpen your leadership acumen. And now, enjoy the show. Hey there, superstars. This is Karen, and welcome to another episode of the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast. We are so honored that you have made it back to another episode, and because you have done so, we have a doubly special guest with you today. We're so pleased to have on today's episode Ms. Marla Albertie, who's the owner and founder of TruthSpeaksGroup LLC, which is a multimedia company that creates strategies and solutions for work-life integration and harmony. And boy, don't we all need that as leaders, right? She has over 20 years of experience in a ton of specialties, but in particular, coaching and training. And she's currently pursuing her PhD in industrial organizational psychology. So welcome to the podcast, Marla. How are you?
Hi, Miss Karen. Thank you so much. This is amazing. I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're so happy to have you, and we can't wait to hear some of the fabulous things you're doing and your insights on some of the important aspects of leadership as well. But before we jump into all that goodness, we'd love to hear just a little bit about yourself. So as much as you feel comfortable, can you give us a sneak peek into your personal life and passions?
Oh, thank you so much. So you may have to stop me because I can go on and on about this stuff.
That's okay.
Because I'm so passionate. But yes, I am a true Duvalian, Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. We are very passionate about our county, so we say Duval.
Duval.
Okay, so you know,
I
right?
do. My line sister lives there. So.
Oh, okay, so you already know.
Yes.
You already know. Passionate about the Jaguars, ready for the season to come up.
Yeah.
But like I said, born and raised right here. I went to school here, got all my degrees. I'm also a veteran of the United States Navy. during that time is when I started my journey in leadership. So in the military, I was 19 years old on board the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, and they decided to put me in a leadership role to be a ship store supervisor.
Wow.
19, I'm a supervisor of a whole entire store on a ship. What am I supposed to do? So I figured it out, right?
Right.
I
Get
figured
thrown
it
in the
out.
fire and figure it out.
I figured it out, and but I'm grateful for that leadership that I got then because it has carried me throughout my career. But currently have my associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, and currently, like you said, in school my PhD in IO psychology, which is the study of human behavior in the workplace. And I've also developed my nonprofit from that, IO for Teens, and we'll talk about that. Fun stuff. I have one son, but I always say I have three kids. So I have my one son, my beautiful daughter-in-law. She's the second child.
Oh,
And then
sure.
and the third one's my dad.
Oh.
He'll be 85 this year. He'll be 85.
85 years young, yes.
85 years young. He's a trooper. And I just found out I'm going to be a glam moth. Woohoo!
Yay!
Yes, I'm
Congratulations.
a glam moth. So super excited. Things I do for fun. We are a very close knit family. I have a slew of cousins. I don't know how many. It's a lot of us, but we have portions of us and sections of us that we go on trips. We hang out. So if it's not a group of us, I'm always with one of them, at least all the time. I'm going out with one of them tonight to a comedy show. I'm going out with another one tomorrow night to a concert. And for that aspect of the fun is I'm a comedy show junkie and a concert junkie. So
Me
I'm
too.
constantly going to those. I love entertainment. I love creating experiences.
Yes.
And I will be remiss. I cannot sit on this podcast and not say what I truly love, which is cruising. I am a cruiser.
Wow.
I am a cruiser. So that could be a separate podcast, girl.
Okay, that's a whole separate podcast.
I'm a cruiser. I've been on 18 and 19 through 25 are booked.
All right. I love that. Okay, so I've got to ask, what was your favorite cruise thus far?
Oh gosh, I get asked that a lot. And so I've only cruised two lines, Carnival and Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
I've cruised Carnival more, and I do like Royal Caribbean. They obviously have different ports, and one of my favorite ports that I went to was with Royal Caribbean. We went to Labadee, Haiti, and even though Royal Caribbean has ties with that part of Haiti and that they own that part. However, it's the natives there, the people there, the customs, the culture. I love learning about cultures and the people there are just phenomenal, and I truly enjoyed that. I love whenever I go on these cruises, I try to take a tour. I like to learn about the culture, walk around the city.
Too.
But as far as customer service wise, I think Carnival has top notch customer service. Like they just love you. And I even said to them, I said, "How do y'all act like y'all love us? It's a different." Y'all come in, we pull out, and y'all act like y'all have never seen people before. I mean, they just love on you. So I get tired of doing that.
That is amazing. Well, you know what? They're doing it just for you. And that's why they have the reputations that they do have.
I mean, their customer service. Now, Royal Caribbean's okay, but you feel the love on Carnival.
Gotcha.
You feel the love. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, awesome. Well, you have a very dynamic life. We have so many things in common. We have to talk about that on another podcast show.
Yes.
But let's dig in for our audience members, since we, as you know, do focus a lot on leadership and leadership tips and things. And one of the reasons I was so passionate about having you on the show, because leaders at all levels really do struggle with work-life balance and harmony. We could talk about that all day, but you know, having myself being an executive coach, and most of my career has been in corporate America for enterprise level firms, so the big boy firms. I wish I had a nickel for every time I've talked to or coached, you know, employees and executives and leaders on just feeling burnt out or feeling that their life is out of whack or not in balance. And it's so common, and people don't talk about it a lot. They kind of suffer in silence. But it really affects people's physical, emotional, and mental well-being. And so I really would love for you to share with our audience members, first of all, how you help with that with your company. And then also, if there are any trends that you're seeing out there in the workplace or just life right now as it relates to work-life balance or integration, I should say.
Yes, Karen. Thank you so much. This is, like you said, this is a deep topic, and we can spend the next day or so talking about it. I'll try not to do that. So,
We'll have to chop this episode up into
right.
20 pieces, right?
Right. It is so deep. It is so deep.
Yeah.
So in my business, I have the True Speaks Group. Like I mentioned earlier, we are a multimedia coaching and training organization dealing with just that work-life integration and harmony solutions. I have coined myself the work-life harmonizer because 99% of my clients that I coach and consult, I've walked in their shoes. I've been there, done that, and I'm still learning. I haven't got to the point to where I figured it out, and I hope to never get there. Right? I want to continue to learn and continue to grow as I move forward. And one of the biggest things I run, speaking of trends and stuff, I would say I've coached men because I do have a blog, the workingwoman.co. I have coached men, but about 80% of my clients are the 9-to-5 working woman. Right? That's mainly my client. And that is a wide range. It could be from 30 to 55, maybe getting early retirement up in those areas. And a lot of the times, what you just said, they're stuck, they're lost, they're burnt out, they are feeling a certain way. And those trends come from one trend that's really popular out there right now is quiet quitting. And I'm like, oh, they put a name to it? Because I'm like, this has been around for a long time.
A long time.
It's a name. Okay, cool. So the quiet quitting piece kind of, it really intrigued me a little bit more because number one, like I said, we put a name to it. Number two, it's something that I've been dealing with with my clients since my coaching business is 10 years old. I've been dealing with this for the past 10 years, where people are showing up to work and they're just doing the bare minimum to get their paycheck and go home. They're not engaged. They're not active. They don't care what's going on. They don't care about the party. What pre-COVID, they don't care about the, bringing in the items for the potluck. I'll just show up. What you want me to bring? I'll bring a fork. I'll bring my plate. What do you want me to do? Now, since we've gotten out of, we're kind of moving through the pandemic, right? Post COVID-19, it has only heightened because people have now realized, oh, I can work from home, but yet now I'm working from home. Sometimes, and it's a two-edged sword. Sometimes I work a little longer when I'm working from home, right? Or sometimes I check out and I put my screen on. I put my camera on. Then you have one side of the coin that says, "Oh, we want your camera off. We want your camera on." The other side says, "Well, you guys take a mental break. Have your camera off." So it's like you're kind of going back and forth, and so it drives people insane. It drives people insane, and so they come to me like, "Marla, well, how do you harmonize? How do you do it?" Great question. Only you can know what's important to you. I'm as a coach, I can guide you, right? And you and I both know coaches, we don't tell you what to do, right? We guide, right? So I can guide you in those areas. And I'm very confident in those areas, but you have to decide, okay, what's priority here? What is the battle that I want to fight here? Do I want to be a part of this battle?
Right.
And that battle can be multiple things. It could be your coworker. It can be your boss. A lot of times it is the boss. I've run into that quite a few of my clients. The statement is very true. People don't leave visions, missions, and dreams. They leave people. Okay. It could be your family. It could be your children, right? It could be if you have smaller kids. Suppose you're in school. Suppose you're trying to better yourself. Especially in the African American community amongst Black women, we deal with what we call, obviously I'm in school, so I have to bring up a theory, right? It wouldn't be complete without a theory.
Right.
We deal with what we call the superwoman schema. And the superwoman schema says, hey, you can do it all. Why not? You can do everything. You can go raise a kid. You can be the CEO. You can do this and do that. Well, what break do you need? And we have to not only come to work and show up and be this person, but on top of that, we have that stress added on that. So I have to come to work, run my team. But then on top of that, I can't make a mistake. I have to be superwoman. I can't talk in slang. I can't wear my locks. I can't, I have to be a certain way. I have to turn the head. It's exhausting.
Very much so.
Exhausting. So my remedy to that is, okay, let me step back. And what I have folks do is I'm really big on journaling. So if you're going to be one of my coaching clients, just know ahead of time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you get a journal, whether you want to get a piece of paper, whatever. And I don't mean a phone journal. I mean a journal that you're using a pen and you're writing something down.
Right.
But I have people journal out. If you could remove every barrier in your life, Karen, whatever it is, whatever barrier is to you, if you can remove those barriers, what would you do? What would you do? Ben Hardy talks about living your future self now, right? What is that? Who is that person?
Yeah.
What does he or she or they look like?
Right.
And then work yourself backward. Start with the end in mind, Stephen Covey, right? So what does that person look like? And where you're at now currently, how does that match to what you're doing? And a lot of folks realize, I need to find a new career. I need to go start that business. I don't need to do anything. I need to take a month-long sabbatical. I've had a couple clients do that. So it is a trend out there that I feel like the quiet quitting, going back to that, we don't have to do. You can do something about it. Why quiet quit? You can just quit altogether.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
Right. You can just
That
quit
is
altogether.
true.
And that's a whole other topic, right? Because we got to talk about finances and all that. But
Yeah.
it's at some point you got to ask yourself, what's worth it here? What is my passion here? What is my purpose as to what I'm doing here? And we can
So what about those individuals who need to have made the decision that they, for whatever reason, they need to stay in the
hmm
workplace?
Yep.
It may not be their passion, but
Yep.
they're good at what they do. They need to stay in the workplace, but their life is still not in sync. They're not spending enough time with, their partner or kids or spouse or family or their elderly parents or something like that. How do you help them prioritize and then fit all that in life? Are you like a talk partner, or are there tools that you give them to kind of sort through that?
Yeah. So great question. So I provide tools outside of the coaching and everything. One thing I highly suggest is going back to that list, right? Well, you got to know what you want. And what I've learned is a lot of folks don't know what they want because they've never taken the time to write it down. Hence why came up with my book, The Ultimate Brag Book, because no one takes the time to write this stuff down. Like that's like one of my top things when I do my coaching. They're like, Marla, I can't write this. Yes, you can. You've never done it before.
You haven't
So
tried.
you never tried, so you don't know what you want, right? Once you get that list of what you want, you make time for whatever you want.
That's true.
I'm a
We do.
I'm a firm believer in that. I don't care. I don't care if you got a husband, a spouse, a wife, whatever, and six little ones. You make time
That's
for what you
right.
want to make time for.
You do.
Everyone does. Everyone
And you
does.
find money for what you would want to buy as well.
Yep.
you
So,
know.
so I'm one of those coaches. I don't take the excuses, right? I make you do
Okay.
the deep work.
That's
Like
good.
Cal Newport says in the book, I make you do the deep work because I don't. That's what you're paying me for, right? To help you dig deep. So you got to be willing to do the deep work. And so after you make that list, now, okay, fine. You can't quit the 9 to 5. I get it. Been there, done that. I understand. Okay, how are you feeding that passion that you want to do? How many entrepreneurs have you read or looked at a YouTube video? They started their job on the side, their journey on the side, right? So people will say, "Well, I work the 9 to 5, and I can't, I can't do this, and I can't do that." Well, you're right. One of my coaches, yes, coaches, we have coaches, right? One of
Yes,
my
we
coaches,
do.
one of my coaches told me a long time ago, "Whatever you believe, you're 100% correct." So if you believe you can't, then I'm not. Well, let's stop the session now because we're not going to move any forward, right?
Right.
So if you believe you can't, then you're right. You cannot. I don't believe that. You actually can, because if you can envision it, then you can move forward, right? We're not talking
That's
about the
right.
poof poof. We're talking about reality of what it is you're trying to do, reality of what it is you want. So if you want to start that side hustle, if you want to start that business, that the side hustle that can turn into a full blown business, I'm just using that as an example. But you have the babies at home. Can you wake up? I'm not going to tell you an hour. Can you wake up 15 minutes earlier
Right.
before the babies get up, before the family gets up, or whomever? Can you wake up? Notice I didn't say an hour. Let's start tiny. Can you wake up 15 minutes earlier
That's
and,
right.
and journal your vision? Journal your entrepreneurial thoughts. Watch a 15-minute pod or 15 minutes of a podcast. What are you doing in the car? Jim Rohn says you can get a full-blown degree in the car
Yeah.
if you're listening to audiobooks or if you're
Yes.
listening to podcasts, or listening to courses, or whatever.
That's right.
So how are you using your time? I'm not a fan of time management. That's another key factor I talk about. You cannot manage something that keeps moving. If you
No.
notice a clock keeps moving, right?
You can
But you can't.
optimize your use of your time, though.
Exactly. You can manage
Yes.
yourself, Karen. You can
That's
manage
right.
yourself. And this is what I teach clients is and coach clients to do is you have to manage yourself. Stop making the excuses, right? That you can't get up 15 minutes earlier. You can't do this. Now, am I saying do it every day? You may can only do Monday and Wednesday. Okay, Monday and Wednesday, wake up 15 minutes earlier and write down notes about that vision, that dream that you have, that nonprofit you want to open, that CEO position that you want to go after. What does it take to be a CEO? Have you read books about CEOs? Have you watched
Yeah.
podcasts about CEOs? So I really challenge them based off of what they want to do, right? So
Right.
different things. I really challenge them to dig deep and look at the areas and do the research. And 9 out of 10, I'm gonna say 99% of the time, these people have not done any of the stuff that I just
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
They haven't done any of it.
And you kind of hinted at it, but I want to go back to your book about the ultimate brag book. I think it's
Yeah.
100 questions about how awesome you are.
Yes.
I find that many leaders are just always go 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 and are in, I guess, leadership mind or leadership mode,
Yep.
and they haven't taken the time to sit back and reflect on the impact that they're truly making
Yes.
in a way that it makes them even feel good about themselves, and they can appreciate how they're serving the world. But
Yes.
share a little bit more about your book and how important those messages are.
Yes, thanks, Karen. So that book, let me just give you a little bit of context to that. That book came from me coaching my clients, right? And I was just what I would notice was with the clients is they would be so hard on themselves. Well, I don't have this, I don't have that skill. And women, it's been studies done. So I'm not gonna, go down a rabbit hole with this, but we all know that women, we have to have 80% of the qualifications on the resume. Men
Before we
have 10,
apply.
and then they will apply and get the job, right? So that
Right.
shows up in that comes out of our pores, right? It kind of shows up in our actions. It shows up when we're speaking, and it's not so. So I said, you know what? I said, I need you to say, what do you like about yourself? I've had clients on calls, they can't tell me 10 things they like about themselves.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
just broke my heart. I said, okay, something's got to be done. So voila, the book, the ultimate brag book. I'm going to make you brag on yourself. Right? Bragging has a negative connotation sometimes. I'm not
Yes, it
saying
does.
for you to let's move the negative out of the way, right? I'm not saying for you to say you're better than somebody else. I'm not saying to say for you to bully someone and put someone down. I'm not saying for you to say, "Oh, she's all that." No, 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 no. That's not what we're talking. That's not bragging. you know,
No,
bragging is the internal feeling you feel about yourself,
that's
and you're
right.
letting other people know that.
That's
You're not
right.
saying that you're better than them, right?
Mhm.
You're saying
Yeah,
that this is what I do best.
that's
This is
right.
what I'm good at. This is what I like. These are things that I love to do. Now, some people will take it a different way, obviously, because that's a whole nother session too when we talk about therapy and stuff, right?
Right.
Because we project onto others, right? But that bragging on yourself, you need to hear yourself say, you know what? I am good at cooking. I'm a
Yeah.
good cook. And it's okay to say, I'm a good cook. It's okay
Yeah.
to tell people I'm a good cook. I'm not saying that I am. No, I'm just using an example. I don't like, right?
Yeah,
But
but I do get what you're saying, because the importance of that is you anyone needs to be able to articulate their value and
yes,
what they're gifted in, because that helps guide others to determine how to best include them, how to
right,
best leverage
yep,
their strengths and superpowers, right? So taking that moment to reflect upon that and then speaking it out to the point that you're, comfortable and that you can articulate it,
hmm
um, will actually maybe even open up doors and opportunities for you,
I'm
right?
telling you, Karen, I have had people come back to me and say they have gotten book ideas from answering these questions. That their marriage has gotten better from answering
All
the
right.
questions. I'm like, okay. The one young lady, she did it with her daughter, and her daughter, she wrote back, sent me an email and said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, this is so much fun. Like I never thought about answering
Right.
these questions to myself, let alone my daughter."
Wow.
And I mean, I've gotten so many positive compliments back about how the book is helping them change their mindsets about themselves. Because I'm asking you questions about what 10 companies would you be the CEO of? What part of your body do you love? What are your favorite restaurants? Simple stuff.
Right.
You never even thought about it. Someone said to me, they're like, Marla, I never even thought about my favorite restaurants. Well, you're gonna write it down in this book,
That's right.
right?
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna have to definitely get a copy and read that
Please do.
and then include it, because I bet there's some fantastic exercises,
Yep.
to use, even in our own business as
If it's
well.
100 questions, and it's a journal. You're simply bragging on yourself. That's what it is. And
That's
what
right.
people normally do is they'll because I don't recommend sitting and doing the book in one setting. I don't think any
Right.
client of mine has done that. Well, people have, yeah. But yeah, so sit down and do a couple of pages. I like to do, because I use the book myself. I just like to open it up, and then in whatever page I land on, I answer the question. and then
Oh, that's
shut it down,
fun.
and then go to the next day or whenever I do it again, open up again, and just until I have the book full.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so definitely people need to know their value. It's still an issue amongst women. We're getting there, but
We're getting there step by step.
we're getting there
But
slowly.
what I also love is that you have an area of focus on our youth as well, starting
Yes,
them early,
yes,
planting those seeds early. Can you share a
yes.
little bit about is it a nonprofit organization?
Yes, yes, it's so let me give a little context to that as well. So as I told
Okay.
you, I'm currently in school for my PhD in IO psychology, which is industrial organizational psychology,
Yeah.
which is the study of human behavior in the workplace. So I'm driving down the street one day. I said, how will teenagers learn about these concepts? So there's 20, someone may argue with you, 25 to 26 different specialization areas in IO psychology. And I said, well, how will teenagers know about it? And then voila, the idea popped up. This was literally last year. This goes to show how fast the universe moves. Last year, this nonprofit didn't exist. This year, we're moving, and
Wow.
so we have four objectives behind what we do. We've taken those 25 specialization areas and put them into what we call our curriculum called the Dream Catcher, and it's 5 classifications for the Dream Catcher. Please go out to www.ioforteens.org, check it out. So we have developed a curriculum for 8th through 12th grade. Currently, we have 11th and 12th grade done, and we are teaching that. We are partnering with a local nonprofit here in Jacksonville, Teen Leaders of America, Go Teen Leaders,
Yay.
and we're teaching 11th and 12th graders the concepts within IO psychology. And what the beautiful part about it, Karen, is it's a science. They're learning a science, right? We're not
Mm.
teaching them to be IO psychologists, right?
Right, right, right,
We're
right.
not we're not saying that they have to go to school, go to college, but we're teaching you life skills that you're going to need regardless of wherever you just. If you want to be a social media influencer, you need to know how to work with people. And
You definitely do.
IO psychology methodologies can teach you that. Our second objective is to create a teaching certification, which that's in the works. And our third and
Wonderful.
fourth objectives are a community fund as well as a scholarship fund. Obviously, the scholarship fund is self-explanatory, and the community fund is to help those teens who want to do that social media influencer. Prime example we did last year. We adopted a teen last year, and she wants to be a graphic artist, and so we were able to raise enough money to get her an iPad so she can, because iPad has those special tools inside of it that they can use to do design. And she was
Right.
just blown away. Just blown away.
Oh,
It just that stuff just eats you up on the inside. It just warms you up. And so we're hoping to continue to grow the fund so we can give out our first scholarship next year, in the next school year, 2023-24 school year, and grow the community fund so we can do that same thing again. We hope to adopt more than one teen this year for Christmas. So please go out to ioforteens.org, support us. We're a small crew right now. Me, of course, I have a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. Leave it for Marla. For teens, it's more like an elective slash after school type program. We'll be in
sure.
all the schools. We'll be in all the high schools across the country. But
That's
let's start here in
amazing.
Duval County in Jacksonville. Start
And
home.
that is so needed for our youth because I even remember when my daughter got out of high school, she said she felt lost. She said she didn't feel
Yeah,
ready for life. And I'm like, and I was one of those helicopter parents. I'm like, how can you not feel ready? And she said, I just don't. And it wasn't just her, it was
yeah,
her friends. We
yep,
were the house that everybody came to hang out at. And it was amazing how insecure they
yeah,
were, even with the supportive community and family unit.
yeah.
So that is so needed. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank
And
you
we'll
so
definitely
much.
have links to your organization in the show notes. So audience, please definitely check that out.
Thank you so much.
So Miss Marla, one of the other fun things we love to ask on the show is we love to ask which of the leadership tactics that I write about in my book really resonated with you. And you were so kind enough to share that leading with entrepreneurship really rang home. And for my audience members, if you don't remember, leading with entrepreneurship is all about building an organization by improving its processes or products or services. And you can lead with entrepreneurship even if you're in corporate America or if you own your own business. Whatever
Yes.
your entity is that you're in, it's always about looking to better it through innovation, whatever you're offering. So, Ms. Marlowe, why did that one really stand out for you? I'm curious. Minds want to know.
Yeah, so oh my gosh, I have been studying that word for a long time, entrepreneurship. I call myself a lifetime student, so I'm always in somebody's school. And so I actually had to write a paper on entrepreneurship, I think for my bachelor's degree. And so I got a bachelor's degree in supervision and management. So we had to write about that. Well, that's the topic I chose to write about. And it's important because by myself being an entrepreneur, okay, I want to take those skill sets. Why can't we use those same skill sets inside the workplace,
Right.
inside the four walls, right? Entrepreneurship,
Right.
we're outside, right? But I got those skill sets. Because entrepreneurs, we think differently,
We
right?
do.
We
We
move
do.
we move differently, but they need those same skills, that same mindset inside. So that's where the entrepreneurship comes from. I'm building something that you're gonna have to let me think outside the box here. But I'm building that inside of the organization, and that's key because that's why we have the iPhone, right? That's why
That's right.
that's why we have certain new technologies and Chat GPT and
I know, and AI and all that.
all this
Yeah.
AI stuff, right? So you got to have that entrepreneurial mind and bring it inside, right? And have that
Yes.
entrepreneurship tactics so you can be able to do what we said earlier, be innovative,
That's
create
right.
and move forward. And innovation is more than just creating, right? Innovation is evolving. Innovation is taking something that wasn't there and making it,
That's
right?
right.
And,
That's
and
right.
bringing it into fruition.
That's right.
Something I always tell the teams is everything you see. I don't care what you look at. Everything you see was in somebody's imagination.
Yeah, it was at some point in time.
This
It
pen,
sure was.
this pen was in somebody's imagination. This pen didn't just pop out of the sky.
No.
Someone had to say, you know what, I want to have a blue pen that has silver on it that says Gateway Arch National Park. I have no idea why I got this pen. Anyway, but
Yes.
someone said that, and
That's right.
and they put the idea into motion, and bam, here it is.
There it is.
You know,
And that I always say that innovation and entrepreneurship runs the world. So
They
it
do.
definitely does.
They do.
Well, Miss Marla, I know we're close on time, but before we let you get out of here, we always love to also give some time to give kudos to others. And so I want you to think about a brand or an individual or an entity or company, it doesn't matter what, someone or something that, in your opinion, is leading at the top of their game. And I'm curious if something comes to mind or someone comes to mind. And if so, tell us why, because we're always curious what it takes to really differentiate yourself amongst your peers.
Yes, Karen. So this was a deep question, but so I used to work for JP Morgan Chase. I was there for like 13 years. And while I was there, Tashunda Duckett Brown was the CEO of, matter of fact, she was not the CEO. She was I think senior vice president of something, and then she got promoted to CEO of auto finance.
Oh, nice.
And then not too long after that, I left the bank and whatnot. She's moved forward, and now she is past 2.5 years. She's the CEO of TIAA Bank. And
Nice.
I just watch how she is on LinkedIn. I have not personally worked with her, and I don't personally know her.
Sure.
But watching how she was at Chase and how she talked to the audience, how she spoke about her team, I can only imagine that's still carrying forward. She talks about her family, her kids, her husband. Listen to me, leaders out there. This is what people want. They want authentic and servant leadership. Stop trying to be who you are not.
Oh. You're so right.
You can talk about that. But anyway, you can tell that bothers me. But no, like I said, I don't know her personally, but I can just see that she cares about her community. She's constantly putting videos out there about African Americans, especially understanding the value of wealth, having a wealth mindset, getting out of this poverty mindset. She has her hair in her braids. She has her cute glasses on. She dresses. She has her own style. She's not trying to fit the corporate,
mold.
Old 1945-ish look. She has her own style. And that is what is impressive.
Yeah.
That is what comes across as, that's a leader that I want to follow. That's a leader that I want to look after and say, okay, she talked about her family, talked about her husband, talked about her parents. They have a foundation. I want to hear about the whole person, not the work person. That's why I say work-life integration. Don't talk to me about only work. I want to hear about you as a human being, because I coach the human being. I don't coach the work person. I coach you, the human being. So that's why she is so. That's why I just admire her as much.
All right, audience, that is just pure gold right there. We talk about this a lot on the show, but showing up as your authentic self is one of the keys to build your followership and being that leader that others want to follow. And it's not rocket science, but a lot of people just do not dedicate the time and effort or or willing to be that vulnerable
Yes.
to share a bit,
Yeah.
with others.
Mhm.
But that's how you build trust and build connection
Yeah.
within those that you work with and in your community. And people want to follow
Exactly.
those that, or be friends with, or help support
Right.
those who are leading from the front.
Exactly. Stop putting
Mhm.
policies and stuff. Be
Yeah,
a human. Be a human.
be human.
Is your employee breaking the law, but because they're not
Yeah,
following this particular policy? Be a
yeah.
human being. Did they mean to break the policy? Did they do it on purpose? My gosh. It's just some of the things that these leaders are doing is just I'm just appalled. I'm like,
Insane.
do you know this is a human being, right? This is not a
That's
machine,
right.
right? This is a human being. So but it's just be you. Just be your authentic
Mhm.
self. Just
That's
talk about Bobby's baseball game.
awesome. Well, Miss Marlo, we're going to have information in the show notes, but I want you to put a voice behind it. How can people find you if they're looking to learn more, connect with you?
Yes, please email me at contact@truthspeakscoaching.com. The website is www.truthspeakscoaching.com. Even though, yes, the name is Truth Speaks Group, but I just kept the coaching piece because it's easier.
That's cool.
Go to the website for the nonprofit, ioforteens.org. That's IOFORTEENS.org. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn, Marla J. Albertie. Reach out to me. I talk to people all the time on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I
So
do too.
that's
I
how you
live
make
on LinkedIn.
yeah, that's how you make your connections. I talk to
You
people all the time.
do.
So find me is Marla J. Albertie. I'm the only one out there. So find me out
Okay.
there on LinkedIn. But yeah, definitely go to the website. If you subscribe to my website, you'll get a free work life harmony workbook, and it's not a sheet of paper; it's a workbook. It's free. So go out
All
there and
right.
sign up. Go out there and sign up, and then and donate. Become a monthly donor. We need all the support we can get.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the gift of your time and knowledge, Marla. This has been a tremendous episode, and
Yeah.
we we don't take it lightly with our guests. So I was sitting here writing a ton of notes, and my audience members knows I do that because I've even learned so much. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Karen. This has been a pleasure.
Awesome. And thank you to listeners for joining in. We can't wait to have you join in next week. As you know, I only ask for one favor, that is to subscribe and like the show, as well as to share with just one friend, because when you do, that expands our reach and
Mm.
we're able to help others to also lead at the top of their game.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and see you next week. Well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation today with Marla Albertie, owner and founder of TruthSpeaksGroup. Links to her bio, her entry into our leadership playbook, and additional resources can be found in the show notes, both on your favorite podcast platform of choice and on the web at leadyourgamepodcast.com. And now for Karen's take on today's topic of quiet quitting. Well, I'm going to take a little turn with you, and instead of talking about quiet quitting, talk about one of its sister actions. Since quiet quitting is so popular in the news, I decided to focus today's Karen's take on a more rarely known sister process to quiet quitting called quiet firing. Quiet firing is the management practice in which a manager or supervisor very subtly encourages an employee to quit their job. This can be done by assigning them undesirable work, or maybe reducing their working hours, or depriving them of opportunities to advance. This isn't a practice to be proud of, just to be clear, and it really shouldn't be happening in healthy work environments, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I haven't seen it before. It's sadly quite common when employers don't want to fire an employee directly and be forced to provide a severance package, for example, that they do the practice of quiet firing. For example, in a worst case scenario, quiet firing also happens when managers allow employees to have, truly toxic or miserable experiences at work as a way to squeeze them out and off the team. It's kind of a form of gaslighting. Quiet firing an employee may seem like a convenient way to avoid a hard conversation, but ultimately it affects team morale and the employer's reputation. Ultimately, managers must do what's best for the team, and I get that. holding on to low performing employees for any reason besides, coaching and developing them up to the needed level of performance is a disservice to all involved. But I do want to give a warning for leaders and executives and organizations. When your managers quiet quit, they also are quietly firing their teams. They're creating conditions that may force many of your great employees out of the company. Many of them might be your key or star performers. So I encourage you to be proactive and have open and honest conversations about quiet quitting with both your employees and your people managers. And if you need help with this, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or via our contact page on our website. And we'll set up some time to kind of talk through and review alternatives and strategies to make improvements in your work culture. Well, thanks again for joining this episode. And please remember to subscribe to the podcast and share with just one friend, because performing this one selfless act will empower you to also help others to lead at the top of their game. Thanks a ton for listening, and see you next week. And that's our show for today. Thank you for listening to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast, where we help you lead your seat at any employer, business, or industry in which you choose to play. You can check out the show notes, additional episodes, bonus resources, and also submit guest recommendations on our website at leadyourgamepodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn by searching for the name Karen Rhodes, with Karen being spelled Karan. And if you like the show, the greatest gift you can give would be to subscribe and leave a rating on your podcast platform of choice. This podcast has been a production of Shockingly Different Leadership, a global consultancy which helps organizations execute their people, talent development, and organizational effectiveness initiatives on an on-demand project or contract basis. Huge thanks to our production and editing team for a job well done. Goodbye for now.